All right. Welcome everybody today to the Speaker Posse. I know a lot of you are streaming in from YouTube as well, and also my Facebook page at Clinton Speaks. My name is obviously Clinton Young. I'm an international keynote speaker and founder of the Speaker Posse, and I'm a coach for aspiring world-class speakers. But today, it's not all about me. It's all about my special guest, and I'm going to introduce her right now. This young lady who you see on the screen right now, she is a master mindset strategist. She's a registered psychotherapist. That's part of her background. You'll learn all about her. She's very, very educated in that space. And she helps entrepreneurs who are underperforming and don't even know why. So are you an entrepreneur, or are you somebody who is just feel like you're underperforming and you're not quite sure like what to do or where to go or how to help yourself? Well, this young lady will be able to help you with that. And when you work with her, what she does is she helps you change your mindset and get laser focused. And then start earning money and living abundantly in all areas of your life. So I know that was a mouthful, but she brings a lot to the table. And I wanted to bring her on the Speaker Posse today because I know that we attract obviously a lot of purpose-driven entrepreneurs that either are already world-class speakers or moving on their journey to becoming world-class. And we want to talk about how to overcome some of these challenges and a very specific topic called faith that we'll introduce in a moment. So Harriet, welcome to the show. It's wonderful to have you here today.
Thank you very, very much. And I'm very impressed that I'm being called a young lady, even though I'm middle-aged.
Nice.
43,
You're a
but
young lady. You're a young lady. Well, you definitely bring a lot to the table in terms of your background, your experience. Why don't you give us the quick bio, if you will, or what's your background? How do you want to be known to the world? Tell us a little bit more about who you are, where you come from, and what you do. I know you're coming from Ireland right now.
yes,
One of my
yeah,
favorite
it's
places
very wet and wintry, and I'm sure it's much brighter as you start into your morning, Clinton. And hi to everyone that's listening or will be listening back. So I guess if we go and follow the thread of faith, I didn't plan to become a psychotherapist or get interested in mindset. In my head, in the ego part, but I guess my soul, I believe, like we were chatting, Clinton, that's why I was so excited to come and speak with you, because I think we're from the same cloth, per se. I always trusted, even before kind of any training I did, that there has to be something that we can make sense of in terms of our life experiences. So ill health, challenges with money, a sudden death, and grief. And that was always how I looked at things. I remember following Susan Jeffers years ago, feel the fear and do it anyway. And the little book of Calm that I used to have when I was in university, but didn't have the training then, but just kind of had this real innate gut sense that, there's something to learn here. There's always something to learn. So when I was being bullied or, had difficult circumstances, I always had this other voice going, you can learn from this. You can change this. There's something you're doing here too. And I'm not in any way saying it was ever okay what I went through or what anyone goes through that are listening. However, I know from lived experience that when I started to really come into the bones of myself and really know who I was, everything just melted away in terms of like feeling bullied or disempowered. I didn't even have to have conversations with some of the people. They just I wasn't drawing that kind of energy.
Yeah, I totally get that. A lot of people, when I'm out there speaking and delivering my keynote speech, Reigniting the Human Spirit, a lot of times they ask me, how do you have confidence in doing what you do? How do you even know what you want to do? Right? A lot of people have so much confusion and they don't know what they want, or even if they know what they want, they don't believe it's possible. Right. So let's talk about faith in knowing that something is possible. And I want to give, just so we're on the same page with the listeners. And by the way, if you're just joining us, I've got Harriet McQuiggan from Ireland. I didn't even say your name. I didn't even say your full name. Well, now I did. Harriet McQuiggan of Harriet McQuiggan Mindset. That's a mouthful for me. From Ireland. She's a psychotherapist. She's a master strategist around mindset. And she helps entrepreneurs really create the life of their dreams and create more income in their businesses, et cetera, et cetera. So how do we do that? And how is faith such a important role? Let me give you my definition of what I mean by faith. Because a lot of people, they hear faith and they immediately go back to their past, and the memory of like a religion will come to their mind, most likely. And that is not what I mean at all. That is certainly not what I mean. Is there faith in religion? Yeah, there absolutely is. I personally, not that we want to turn this into a religious conversation, but I personally am not, I don't consider myself religious. I consider myself more spiritual in nature. But what I do mean by faith is that sort of knowingness. It's not a logical reasoning. It's just this knowingness that something is possible. Right. So as entrepreneurs or as people with a dream or a vision for something in their life, the first thing we need to do is we need to discover, like, if we don't believe it's possible for ourselves, we need to discover what the heck is stopping us. Like, are there limiting beliefs that are stopping us from even believing it's possible? But once we get past that, I believe that when we see something out there in our futures, we see a vision, it would be a cruel joke by God or the universe or whatever anyone that's listening believes in. It'd be a cruel joke for you to be able to have that vision and not have the potential to be able to actually achieve it. Right. So when we have that vision, we absolutely can achieve it. And it's my belief that faith is the number one ingredient, faith, to actually have that come to fruition. So what I do mean by faith, and it was a long-winded way of saying what I mean by faith, and I want to hear what your thoughts are on this as well. I believe that when you have that knowingness that it is already done, it's almost like a childlike confidence, like it's already done. You don't even have to worry about the how. All we need to do is believe it's possible. We need to get inspired about something, get clear what we want and get inspired. We need to believe it's possible, right? And then we need to have faith that it's already done. And the only thing we need to do now is take action, right? I just gave a formula. I'm going to put this in the notes as well. Inspiration plus faith and belief plus action equals magic and miracles. And it's my belief that when you have that faith and you just start taking action, I believe that's where the actual magic happens. Right. So I know I just gave a mouthful, but talk to me about whatever's on your mind around faith right now as it aligns with what I just shared.
Yeah, no, and I'm taking notes of what you're saying. Like it's like your signature talk, reigniting the human spirit. And I guess what came to mind when you were talking was looking at the good aspect of the toddler. Think of a toddler. They don't go, oh my God, how do I look when I'm walking? They have a determination. 99.9% of toddlers, unless they have special needs or there's something inhibiting them due to physical like health things, but most toddlers, they just push themselves and push themselves. Mom could be scared, mom could be putting all these things in the way, like they will never give up, like to learn how to walk. And somehow, due to life experiences, due to circumstances, due to our culture, due to where we were born, due to being female or male or our religion, we start overthinking ourselves and we lose that good toddler energy. Like, I mean, we've toddlers that tantrum, as toddlers, we can have the tantruming toddler. But in a way, if we didn't judge the tantruming toddler, they keep following what they want. If they want the blue cup, I mean, I'm a mom and I lots of nieces and nephews, and my background is Montessori education. I love that about toddlers, but I suppose it's looking at that and remembering we all were that kid that really, and then somehow it got beaten out of us due to a teacher that we were scared of. We all have a different story, and then we go into ourselves and we are, like your talk, reigniting the human spirit. It actually dampens. It's not gone. I have two candles lighting, it's not extinguished, but it's very, very dim. So the work you do, Clinton, and the work that I do is I help people to bring that light stronger in themselves. So I help them fight for themselves. I just hold the space. Like I say sometimes, I'm a good midwife. If you're having a baby, you have to push the baby out. You have to dilate, you have to go through labor. But if you've got a midwife who knows her stuff and she's confident and she has that energy of confidence, then we know from research and we know from all the experience, like I know it from having babies, you feel, oh, I can relax. And it's the
Yeah.
same thing when you have someone hold that space. You go, oh my God, she really believes in me. She's like, I mean, I only can work authentically. So if I genuinely don't think that I'm the right fit for someone, I'll tell the person that straight away. I don't want to waste their time or my time.
Yeah.
But there's lots of people that I am their cup of tea. And, you know, I say to them all the time, everything you're seeing in me, you have. You're just giving it all away to me.
Yes. Yeah. That's great. There's so much to unpack there. And you really kind of dug more into like another topic, which is where do our beliefs come from, and what happens as we're kids, and as these experiences happen to us in the world, and then we make meaning of whatever it is that happened. A lot of times I find that as little kids, we have this little kid confidence, and then something happens, and the way our brains work is we file things away in our unconscious mind so that we can then in the future not have to process every single thing over and over and over. It's like, oh, wait, that happened. This is what that means. Oh, that happened. This is what that means. But a lot of times we file it away incorrectly as little kids, right? With our brains haven't been formed fully, our thoughts haven't been formed fully. And ultimately we make something that happened mean something that it doesn't actually mean. And that's my rudimentary way of saying that's how our limiting beliefs are formed. And that becomes the lens through which we see the rest of the world. And we go around collecting evidence now to prove that that's true, because that's our construct of the world. So tell me a little bit about limiting beliefs. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just loved what you described there. That's such an eloquent way of putting meaning to it. And what comes to me straight away is, this is an example of how a limiting belief gave me a situation because of it. So basically, when I was like 25, myself and my partner, who's now my husband, went to Rio de Janeiro. And my limited belief at the time was, oh my God, we're going to get robbed, we're going to get mugged, it's going to be so dangerous, we'll probably be murdered. So I was like terrified, even though I did want to travel. There was a real kind of holding on like a white knuckle flyer, arriving at the airport, literally like, you know, steal from me, you know, this person. And we did get, we actually, it did happen, because I frightened my husband because he was trying to be, so we did get, like, I remember we arrived at the airport and it was supposed to be like maybe 20, I don't know what, say dollars, we're $20 to get to our hotel, and the guy charged us $100. And like, I was devastated, like going, I see, it's so dangerous and whatever. But I arrived energetically. That's what I want the audience to hear, Clinton. I was literally begging to be mugged or stolen from. You know, I had no mindset. I had no I wasn't meditating at the time. I hadn't looked at my limited beliefs. So, you know, I had no preparation. It's like we can't control what happened to us in our lives, but we have control if we're hungry enough to prepare ourselves and fatten ourselves up for how we are in the world now. Because I'm pretty sure that wouldn't have happened if I got off the plane with my shoulders back. You know, I might have known everything, but if I planned a bit more and not felt like I was 2 or 3, you know, that it would have been a different experience. And
100%.
that happens so much in business and with our VA or with our cleaner, or, you know, if we go into that kind of, and I help people, I tailor to what they need to work on. So they have homework, but it's homework to get them back in their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we totally get what we believe, what we think, right? What Tony Robbins, what does he say? He says, your beliefs have the power to create and the power to destroy, right? They have the power to create and the power to destroy. And Gandhi says something even better. He says, your beliefs determine your destiny. Like your beliefs they create your destiny. And it's crazy. Like, we don't have time to go into it all today, but the psychology behind it and how our brain works, right? With these beliefs that have been created a lot of times through no fault of our own. It's just, you know, we just grew up and something happened and we made it mean something. And we're getting some comments here and some likes, which is awesome. Thank you so much for the viewers out there. We've got Harriet McQuegan coming in from Ireland. She's a master mindset strategist for entrepreneurs. Having her on the show today to really help the entrepreneurs on the show, help them discover what is stopping them from really unlocking their full potential, unlocking whether that's income in their or revenue in their business, whether that's just happiness and fulfillment in their relationships. Harriet can definitely help you with these things. And then we're also talking about the power of faith, right? So we came here to talk about faith, and we ended up talking a little bit about mindset, about limiting beliefs, but of course it's all sort of interwoven. If we don't have those limiting beliefs,
it is because it's having faith. Faith is so broad, Clinton. So it's like we can have an idea and a limited belief. This is the way faith will be. But faith is about even having faith that whatever, we do in business or we do in life, when it's coming from that real, I'm really drawn to it, trusting that, because sometimes, again, we can wobble off going, oh, am I supposed to be doing that? I'm 43 now, or, these limited beliefs, or putting a label on something. So faith is like the trusting of, it doesn't make sense why I want to link in with you, but there's something from a deeper place, that kind of, it's like the faith, even in terms of, if I remember when we first met, again, it was virtually, but you see, the thing is, when we're in our bodies, it doesn't matter. I've learned that now through COVID and through working remotely for the few years, that it doesn't matter if you're in the room with the person or you're over in San Diego and I'm like thousands, hours and hours away.
You feel it, right? You feel it.
Exactly. And I remember your smile, Clinton. That's what drew me to it. It was your smile. It wasn't even what you said. And it's a bit like that thing of they won't always remember. So, sometimes I don't get so caught up because I say a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff is really good and people write down the quotes. And for all you listening, it's not always even what people say. It's how you're left feeling. And that's how you do business. You know what I mean? Because sometimes for me,
favorite quote of all time, Maya Angelou, right? People don't remember what you say. They don't remember what you do, but they always remember how you make them feel. 1000%. So I'm hearing it's almost like an intuition, which a very common definition of that is it's not a conscious reasoning. It's a feeling. No. It's a feeling, right? So when we talk about faith, I believe that faith is like you have this belief that something's possible and you just start taking action. And when you take those 10 steps, my friend TJ McGraw, one of my new coaching students, he just reminded me of, when you can see 10 feet in front of you, you take those 10 steps and all of a sudden you can see the new horizon, the next horizon, right? So faith is like taking that action in spite of the fear, having the courage to do that. And that's where the magic happens, right? I want to say this one last thing. I want to bring it back to you. So I feel like as entrepreneurs, and really as anybody that's up to anything in their life, but let's talk about entrepreneurs specifically. When you have that vision and you have that fear that can I actually do it, those limiting beliefs creep in from time to time. It's like it's the intersection between knowing what's possible and having the faith that it's already done, and then the absolute unknowing of how you're actually going to achieve it. It's right in between where the magic happens.
And it takes humility. And two words that come to mind when you say that, Clinton.
Yeah.
It takes humility and grace. It takes humility and grace.
Talk to us.
The unlearning, like what you were saying, it's not going to come from the ego. That's when we force things. That's when we make bad decisions about retail investment or to move our money to whatever. That's always from the head place. But when we do it from the faith and the humility and grace of just going, I'm drawn to this thread. And I suppose that's our inner intelligence. And it's not dismissing. We need an ego and we need a brain and our brain, but it's marrying, I suppose the work really is to remember that we're a spiritual self, we're an intellectual self, we're an emotional self, and we're a physical self. And like you were getting all excited about your pickleball before we came on tonight, and I had never heard of pickleball. Now I want to know about pickleball, and I'll probably hear the universe is so interesting. I'll probably hear about pickleball 40 times now in the next month. The way sometimes we never hear about something and then suddenly we have never heard the name of someone and then suddenly we hear about this person all the time.
Yes.
So I suppose it's the faith is all about, like, I suppose if I give the concrete example, if someone has never meditated before Clinton. You maybe meditate a lot now, and I know from our chat last week you have your mindful practice of getting out into nature and journaling. But before we do any of that, those things, we'd be more drawn to getting like Baskin and Robbins ice cream or watching something kind of mindless on Netflix. You know, most of us as humans will go for the easier option. But when we have faith, we'll do the harder thing. So it's a harder thing. It just, of course, the thing is, we learn with meditation that it becomes, now sometimes when I put on my alarm for like 20 minutes, I'm like, oh my God, is it really up? You know, not every day, but you know, you develop that practice. So I suppose it's having the faith to even trust it's not going, you know, the way like insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Faith is, I need to link in with someone to hold my hand with this because I am being too stubborn and I'm not accessing my grace and my humility. You know,
love it. Yeah. You know, again, I was talking to my friend TJ this morning, and he was telling me how he came to find me again. And it's a story of what you just shared. It's faith. It's like, we talk about the reticular activator system, right? To get a little bit more fancy here with the psychology. That's what Harriet was talking about when she said, I said pickleball. Now she's going to start to notice pickleball. It's already all around her. She just isn't noticing it right now. And that's what happens when we become newly aware of ourselves and newly aware of what's possible, newly aware of any topic, right? Anything. We start to then notice it all around us. That's like when you buy that little red car, you buy that fancy red car, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to be unique. And all of a sudden you see that same car like everywhere. Like everybody has my damn car. I thought I was going to be unique. So what happened was TJ, he's like, he had this thought, this inspiration to move his business forward and to expand his business from being a real estate agent to doing more investing and then providing more value to other agents that are new in the world that are having challenges. So he had this thought, this inspiration. He didn't really know what to do with it, but he just had this thought and he had an idea, and he didn't like sit there. He did such a good job. He didn't just sit there and let the fear overcome him and be like, oh, well, what if, or I don't know if that's going to work. No, he just took action. And that's so important. There's this amazing TED talk by Mel Robbins called the 5 second, I think it's the 5 second rule. And for the fellas out there, that doesn't mean dropping food on the ground and eating the food. No, that means if you have an inspired thought, literally you've got to take action within 5 seconds or your brain will go to work to destroy and annihilate that idea and then actually enroll you in the fact or the thought that that was a bad idea in the first place.
You'll overthink yourself out of it.
Yeah, you convince yourself you made the right choice. So we've got to take action. So he did. TJ took action. All of a sudden he started to, and he said, I want to do more speaking. So he started to see me on Facebook and he saw me do a Facebook Live. And then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, well, I don't know if I'm going to reach out. And then our buddy from high school literally called him and he's like, you should call Clint. And it's like all these signs, it's like serendipity. It just kept popping off. So that's what happens when we have faith and we take action. Like the doors of the universe start to open up for us all around us and magic and miracles happen. When you follow right here, inspiration plus belief and faith plus action, you got to be in action. Magic and miracles open up for you.
Yeah, and put in the comments, guys, even if you're listening back, what has happened to you in your life that has been serendipitous, because it is awesome and amazing. And it's like, I'm coming back, you know, what you share there, Clinton. It's like, in a way, the universe kept showing Clinton to this guy. You know, he was kind of thinking about it and, am I ready to do this? And the universe is like, you're so ready. And you had a mutual connection. And the whole thing was, it's like, I suppose, even if anything, if people get this from the chat, the universe always has your back, guys.
Yes.
It's not trying to hurt you. You know, that's our overthinking and our learned limited beliefs and our men are scary or this ethnic group are scary. Or if I follow, you know, even in Ireland for school, it probably happens in the States as well. Sometimes you hear people saying to kids, don't become a doctor. Say this kid is really interested in science and medicine. Oh, don't become a doctor. You'll have to work 10 and 12 hours or whatever. It's like, I suppose, having the faith to really follow your own thread. That guy could be an amazing doctor. It goes the opposite way too. People saying you must do medicine because it pays really well. They're the cranky doctors that probably never wanted to be doctors. They wanted to maybe be artists or actors or public
Yeah.
speakers. So I suppose, again, even if we want to, another thing, it's the faith. I believe that as humans, when we follow the thread of who we are, then we change things for all the generations to come. And it doesn't mean even if we don't have to be parents to change the generations. It's every
Right.
time a human really steps into their power, the world relax. It changed that, like Mahatma Gandhi. You get pissed off about all the crap going on in the world. You must be the change you wish to see in the world. So it's like, do I
Yeah.
pick the same weapon up? There's craziness going on in Ireland and the States. I mean, there's so much news that's just we're bombarded with. But it's like, do I pick the same weapon up as all the cruel things that happen, or do I sit with a journal? Might feel frustrated, but like what makes I mean, we could go on to a whole other topic, but I suppose what I love talking to people about is if we take up the same weapon, even with our tongues, we're just the same as this dictator that we don't like. We're
Yeah.
just behaving the same
Totally.
way. That's another.
So let's bring it back to entrepreneurs. I know there's several folks watching now, and they'll be watching in the future. By the way, like this, comment, share, put your questions in, as Harriet mentioned, or your experiences of faith as an entrepreneur, or as somebody maybe you're getting into entrepreneurship. And then Harriet, I'd love for you to share with the audience, like, how do you like to work with, or tell us just like, what are you finding is really helpful in helping people overcome limiting beliefs and or follow their faith to be able to unlock that potential in their business? Talk to us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so they're obvious things that we hear about all the time, but it's having the faith to go, okay, I've heard it again from Harriet today. So it's not rocket science.
Right.
It's sleep. Sleep is magic. The first thing, you're not a hero because you stay up till 3 and 4 in the morning. Sometimes it can be looked at like, oh my God, you're a legend. I live on. It's really, really not good for creativity, for doing
Right.
business. It'll catch up on you eventually. You can do it for a
Mhm.
certain amount of time. We can all do late nights every so often if we're at a party or whatever. But sleep is gold, and it's free. Getting to bed, and we know from research that the time we go to sleep has a different impact on our REM and deep sleep and all of that. So that's
Yeah.
one tip.
Okay.
When sleep, sometimes we'll go for the tablets than actually making the environmental changes, until we're hurting enough and our body's affected enough with the tablets, or that they're not working. Another thing is getting out in nature, like you love as well, Clinton. But
Yeah.
honestly, every day, rain, hail, or snow, there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing. I mean, you have better weather all the time, but like where I live, we have cold weather sometimes.
Yeah, you do.
Our lake was frozen last week, but we had a ball trying to smash the lake. Whatever. It's. I suppose there's
Be in
so many.
nature. Be in nature.
Yeah,
100%. Agree with you.
absolutely. And you connect with your faith. That's a really good strategy for connecting. You talked about that last week, and you can listen back to Clinton and I speaking last week on my page about, I guess, the messages that the universe wants us to follow come often out in nature. They don't really, like,
Yeah.
sometimes you need to be off Wi-Fi, off kind of we need it, and it's amazing. Looked at the miracle. I mean, when I was a little girl, I'd be dreaming about something like this. Go, imagine talking to someone at the same time. You'd be thinking that's like kind of outer space stuff.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not that long ago. I'm not that old. But so there's amazing things about technology, but also sometimes if we're reading over and over, we don't need to know every detail about current affairs or news. Actually, sometimes in our business, pulling back completely, because entrepreneurs are creative. They look outside the box, and often, if you're around people who are very kind of one-dimensional, or they have a pensionable job, they're going to feed your fear. Going to go, well, sure, that's a good idea, because you'll never regret. The only thing we ever regret. I mean, I know the time is going now, but we always regret what we didn't take the risk doing, rather than actually taking the risks. We learn from everything. It's like keep making mistakes. That's another tip. Just
Yeah.
keep making mistakes, because that means you're alive. Make a better mistake than it.
Oh, I have to jump in and speak on that. So I'm always learning like you. I'm always going through challenges. I've got multiple coaches myself. Not only am I a coach and Harriet's a coach, but we have coaches too, right? We have mentors. So I was going through this program last week, and I realized that this massive aha on a limiting belief that I had. You see, I had this challenge where every once in a while, I would say, I don't know if I'm doing this in the right order. Like, yeah, anyone out there have like, I don't know if I'm doing it right syndrome? Yeah, that's kind of what I had. I don't know if I'm doing this right. I don't know if I'm a little bit fearful of taking the wrong action because I don't want to make a mistake. Or I don't want to get stuck doing something I don't want to do because now I went down this rabbit hole. And so what I realized is that, first of all, whenever it feels bad, whenever like something doesn't feel good and it's not aligned with your vision, then it must be a limiting belief. It must be. If it doesn't feel good and it's not aligned with your absolute vision of what you want in your life, then it's a limiting belief. So if that must not be true, what I was saying was, if I make this choice, I'm going to get stuck doing something I don't want to do and it's going to suck. I don't want to do that. The opposite must be true, which is if I just take action, then I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn something. I was placing so much significance, Harriet, on doing it all in the right order.
Mm.
When what I realized, the evidence that proved this all to be true for me is I believe that everything always happens perfectly. It's always perfect.
Yes.
I say that all the time. It's
And
always perfect.
what's the order anyway? How do you know what the order is? Because maybe the order is the opposite. You know, the way we have this
Exactly.
idea, it has to be this way. That's a limited belief, or because you
Yeah.
know what is order?
That's when I got it. I was like, if it's always perfect, no matter how it is, because I'm
Yeah.
going to learn something from it, then why am I placing so much significance on the order? The order does not matter. What matters is I stay inspired. I stay with my vision of what I want in my life and inspired around that. And I continue to have the belief that it's possible, continue to have the faith that it's already done. All I need to do is keep taking action. It doesn't matter which action I'm taking for the most part. I'm going to learn something and I can always course correct. I can always course correct. So that was like mind blowing. And I know we're now over 31 minutes. We still have some viewers watching, which I love. And we'll have more watching the replay. I want to find out if there's any last bit of wisdom you want to share before we close. And then I want to give everyone the free gift that you wanted everybody to have. For now, I'm just going to pop up. You can follow Harriet on Facebook and Instagram at Harriet McQuegan Mindset. Look her up. That is her handle on pretty much most of her social medias, but Facebook and Insta, I believe, are your two most prominent ones. Listen to her shows that she does on her Facebook page. And Harriet, what are your closing thoughts first, and then let's guide everybody into how they can get in touch with you and what's the free gift that you wanted to give everybody.
So the closing thought is to round it all up. It's like, you know, that we had that connection when we met networking, and then I used the faith part of me to not go into my ego or overthinking and just go, I just need to link in with this Clinton Young. And you were very kind and linked back with me, and we made a connection and we collaborated. So it's like the faith of, okay, there's thousands of people that you scroll and scroll and scroll and come across. So it's never a coincidence who you meet.
Right.
Whatever they trigger in you, and trusting that. So like, rather than kind of, again, everything you were talking about, Clinton, rather than kind of going, oh my God, the universe, what's the, like, I love this quote. I have to just check that I got it right. Rejection is the universe's redirection.
Love it.
Rejection is the universe's redirection. So again,
Beautiful.
changing the mindset, you know, because we can think, oh my God, this didn't go well, you know, like you talked about in 2009, when, look, all of this wouldn't have happened for you if you hadn't made those bad decisions. They weren't bad decisions. They were decisions that were meant to be made to get you. I mean, we're all here for a higher purpose.
Yeah.
Everyone is, but not everyone's higher purpose is unique to them. So it's like trusting. This is Clinton's way of viewing the world, and how you view the world helps so many because of what you do and helping people to bring their story out and do business. And it's like, I trust that. And all you guys listening, if there's something bubbling, it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away even if you're going to be 90. See, the thing is, when there's something we haven't fulfilled, it never goes away. You can meet someone in their 90s. I've met them, and and I'm working with a lot of people at the moment that are in their dream now, because they've done their corporate job and they have the finance now, which is great, to fund the support that I'm giving them and that they're putting into their business. But that's what they wanted from 15, 16 years old, just because of circumstances and society and the generation they were in. But I love working with people like that are so young. They've never lost the twinkle in their eye.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So it's not again about necessarily, it's not religious faith. It's this faith, this knowingness, this belief that it's possible, this taking action. I like to say, follow the tingles. When it feels good, you get those tingles, follow that. That's a sign for us, right? We got to have the courage to take action in spite of fear. We got to hang out with people like Harriet McQuegan, right? If you're an entrepreneur and you feel like maybe you're stuck with your income, or you plateaued, or your mindset, or you're not fulfilled, or you need more direction in getting started in your business, or you want to take your business to a whole nother level, definitely follow Harriet. And she has an awesome free offer that she wants to provide right now. And I want to give her an opportunity to do that. And I'll put that up on screen as well. Love it. Oren, my man, Oren Checkmate Hudson says, good stuff. Love it. Thanks for tuning in, Oren. We got to have you on here sometime soon as well. Okay, so back to you, Harriet. So where can we find you, and what do you want to provide as value to the listeners?
Yeah, and thank you for tuning in, Oren. And I can't see the comments, but for all the people that are watching and watching back, and thank yourselves for just giving yourself this time. And so I guess what I'd like to offer you is just trust your faith. You know, often people have had conversations with me, I don't know what it was, but it was how I was left feeling. And I just want to follow that thread. So if you want to hear more about how you can move from that fearful overthinking stance to having a roadmap, to looking at how I could actually move to living abundantly, to having strategies tailored completely. You know, we talked in general today, but imagine if you could have someone really tell you your blind spots that you keep sabotaging yourself in your business. And of course, when we find that way to be in ourselves, everything starts to blossom. Relationships, our business, how we are, because everything we do in business is how we are about ourselves anyway. So like kicking that people pleaser to the curb and the chronic people pleaser, the imposter, you know, that's a speciality for me, because the smartest of us struggle with that imposter, and it ruins us. And you don't want to be 90 with those regrets.
Let's just describe, you opened up another can of worms. I know we're going long here, but the imposter syndrome, just tell the audience, the folks that don't know what you're talking about, what does that mean? And just really quickly, what you're talking about there, how you help people overcome that, obviously.
Yeah, I help people overcome it, because the imposter is that kind of a limited belief voice, like a gremlin. That's not
like,
you
I can't do that. It's like, I can't, like you have this vision of what you can do. And then all of a sudden the imposter syndrome is this thought that creeps in that says, oh, I don't know, I can't do that.
No. And I found out, oh, you're just lucky that worked out this time. But if they really knew, and it's this part that kind of grinds us down. Orna is saying, how you do anything is how you do everything, 100%.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. And it's just to manage the imposter. I'll look with you. If you want to come on the call, I'd be delighted. I mean, I have some time. I have 5 slots left in January, and the call is worth €200, but it's a complimentary call for people that are live and listening back. And we'll, you know, even being on the call, you'll leave it feeling, okay, it'll be a kickstart, and maybe you'll start your pickleball or doing your exercise, or, you know, whatever we all know what we need to improve on, but no human, no man is an island. I mean, that's again, the imposter's like, I should be able to do this myself. It takes grace and humility. That's my message. If you want to get more access to your own grace and humility, male or female, I'd be delighted to hear from you.
Awesome. So if you would like to take advantage of that and get one of Harriet's 5 spots remaining in January, she's giving away these free 30-minute Fear to Abundance calls. You can just email her at mindfulpeeps@gmail.com. I love that. That's great. Mindfulpeeps@gmail.com. Harriet, it's been a pleasure having you on the show today. Love what you do in the world and helping entrepreneurs overcome their limiting beliefs to really really crack open their full potential as far as their income, as far as their happiness, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you so much. Follow her on Instagram and Facebook at Harriet McQuiggan Mindset, and definitely take advantage of her free 30-minute phone calls, Fear to Abundance call. All right, Harriet, have a wonderful weekend. And thank you for sharing your Friday evening in Ireland with us here all the way over in the States.
Thank you very much, Clinton, for having me
You're
on.
welcome.
Really appreciate it. And
All right, my
thank you for
pleasure.
listening, everyone.
All right, bye for now.
Bye.
We just got a couple more here, and I know we're still live. I want to be on the call. Oren says, I want to be on the call. And oh man, we could have brought him on the call.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again. Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
we'll have to do it again.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, bye for now. Take care. We'll talk to you guys soon.